Tonight on the Distort Report, South Carolina couple arrested for midday sex in yard. Skyscraper builders got to include working elevator, and Swedish men warned of crotch-chomping fish. These stories and more up next on the Distort Report. You're watching the Distort Report. I'm Ross. Let's do this. China heatwave brings dead man back to life. Whoa. It all happened during a staged protest arranged for a sidewalk vendor whom was beat to death by city officials in central China. The man, who was only known by the name of Han, was the solo actor to play the role of the dead man. At one point during the protest, he was to be carried out on a makeshift gurney through the city. However, death hath a sense of humor, as ironically he was carried out on a real gurney to recover in a hospital after lying under a white sheet on a street for 2 hours. Upon rising from under the sheet and asking for water, he was arrested for disturbing social order. The group submitting the protest was to ask citizens for donations for compensation for the death, while press claims against the murder. However, officials say the case will hardly see the light of day, as no cadaver was submitted for an investigation. Police say a South Carolina couple arrested for midday sex in their own yard. Communing with Mother Nature brings out the best in humans, hiking, biking, and this couple, Joy and Jarmal, who made heading back to nature's roots a definition all their own. A neighbor perhaps thought at first Joy and Jarmal bought 2 new statues and artistic repose. But upon noticing the statues were moving and engaged in making bacon mode in the front yard in broad daylight, he called the cops. The sad truth is, only if Joy and Jarmal made it 5 more feet to the front door of their home, they wouldn't have been arrested and charged with indecent exposure. Wasn't that a TV show once? Or am I thinking of Northern Exposure? Whatever, besides the point. Intempo, 47-story skyscraper builders forgot to include working elevator. The architects must have been higher than the high-rise itself here, after noticing that no working elevator within the building was never installed. Being called as symbolic with Spain's economic crisis, the blunder of astounding proportions, as they call this, quickly gained international attention in Benidorm. Initially, the building project was to be 20 stories high. Then, during some magical lunch meeting, they decided it'd be great if this building, they bumped it up to 47 floors, excuse me. However, one thing they overlooked was rescaling the blueprints. Construction commenced in a hurry during Spain's real estate bubble. But then the bubble burst and the project was stranded when its original architects resigned. Well, let's see, also the lending bank went broke, all that jazz. And in turn, it took a toll on the workers, as also no forklift was ever installed for them. And the December 2013 deadline is looming. It doesn't look good for them, and I tell you that. Looking for an additional set of floors with no forklift, that's embarrassing, with no elevator included in this 47 freaking story building here. Police fear man's ear was swallowed following urination brawl. It all started when a 23-year-old dude saw another dude taking a piss on his own yard one night in Seattle. When the victim told the peeing suspect to leave, the suspect began to assault his own girlfriend. The victim stepped in to break up the assault. Amidst the ruckus, the suspect bit the man's ear off, and with unwashed hands. The dude who peed on his yard fled with the victim's ear, perhaps still in his mouth, but the suspect hid in a park where there he was spotted with his mouth covered in blood, and he was arrested. The victim was taken to the hospital for treatment, while the ear, still missing, was placed on milk cartons, sent out as an Amber Alert message, and having Mike Tyson involved as a culprit. And finally tonight, Swedish men warned of crotch-chomping fish. They're called pacu fish, a relative of the piranha, and more deadly than Lorena Bobbitt herself. At nearly 3 feet in length, these species are usually found in warmer waters. However, upon being reeled in one day in the cold waters of Sweden, the local dudes are on high alert for their family jewels, as the pacu fish is on the prowl for something else other than a whale's dork. Described, though, as normally not dangerous to humans, They in fact can be, as there have been incidents of it castrating men's testicles in Papua New Guinea. According to a Danish museum expert, the paku are great, not only at swallowing, but enjoying letting testicles sit nicely in their mouth when hungry. Doesn't that remind you of somebody? What are you looking at me like that for? And in fact, it does eat other foods such as nuts, but for some reason prefers human nuts over others. The local dudes in Sweden are taking caution and swimming with cups. Well, you might want to watch it yourself, because if you don't want your family jewels to hurt, then I suggest you go over here to Distort Report, only on Facebook, because you'll see not only other installments of this, daily doo-doos abound. So you better watch yourself and your nuts too, for you dudes out there. So I'll see you later, and I'll see you next week for another installment of the Sexy Distort Report, because we are real stupid news.